Hi, and welcome to another shoe review here on Run Tall with Tim. I'm Tim, and today I'm sharing my thoughts on the Hoka Clifton 8. Now, Hoka's made a few changes from last year's version, both to the upper as well as the midsole. But before I get into it too far, I always like to demonstrate what it looks like to run in the shoes that I'm about to review for you. So let's do that, but then when we come back together, I'm going to take a real close look at the Hoka Clifton 8. If you're new to the channel, I post running shoe reviews and comparisons on both Wednesday and Saturday mornings, and that's at 5 a.m. Standard Eastern Time here in the US. I also like to post other videos related to running, but I'm never sure what day of the week that's going to be or even what time of day. So if you enjoy watching running shoe reviews and other videos related to running, be sure to subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell so that you'll be notified each time that I upload new content. Now, these are a neutral road shoe that I ordered true to size. They cost $130 US. They came in at 8.9 ounces for men's size 9 on my scales, or 252 grams. So I'm going to start with the fit and the feel first, beginning up in the toe box. I found that there was plenty of room for me to be able to splay my toes. It was really comfortable that way. Sometimes in Hoka shoes, that lateral side of the shoe can get pretty aggressive in the arc or the curve that they have there, and that material can rub up against the lateral side of my foot. But I didn't have that issue with these, so that felt really good. I was able to get locked in and secure pretty quickly and easily across the midfoot section of the shoe using that eyelet chain. You know, in part because with the upper material, and you can see here where they've quilted some of that around in that midsection of the shoe, and that takes a bit of that stretch out of it. So it wasn't very difficult at all to be able to get cinched in and locked down and secure across that midfoot all the way back to the heel cup. And there's a nice pocket for your heel to set in. So I found it to be really comfortable. So let's zoom in. We'll take a real close look at the material that they made the upper out of. And here we can see that they used an engineered mesh material. It's really soft to the touch. You know, it feels really terrific that way. And then in the toe box, you'll notice that they have lots of perforations there, but they've scaled them back from the Clifton 7 version of the shoe. So it takes some of that stretch that we got out of that Clifton 7. And in this case, I think that's a really good thing, because there are times in the Clifton 7 where I had to stop and cinch my laces up just a little bit tighter to continue to get that nice snug lockdown feeling across the midfoot. I haven't had that issue with the Clifton 8s. And we'll notice as we move around to the side of the shoe, while they still have those perforations there, they just aren't as big or as aggressive as the ones in the previous model. And then as we work our way around back to the heel counter, you can see that, you know, not much is going on there. They do have their Hoka logo back on toward the heel counter, but other than that, not much else is going on. Now, before I move on, I want to talk about another factor that I think helps to contribute to getting that locked in and secure feeling across the midfoot section of the Clifton 8 that I found to be a little bit easier to achieve than it was in the Clifton 7. Now, as I flip these shoes over, we can see that they made a few changes to the geometry of the shoe. They've narrowed it up here in the midfoot section as well as in the heel. And I think that allows the upper to not have to take up quite so much volume to get your foot locked in and secure across that midfoot section all the way back to the heel cup. So I feel like the upper now wraps around your foot rather than draping over it. And again, it just feels a little bit more snug and secure than it did in the Clifton 7. The eyelet chain, it's pretty standard. I'd say it's a classic style here. No big wow factor. They do have some plastic overlays both on the outside as well as on the inside cage area to help just give it a little bit of durability. They do include, or did include, that extra eyelet in case you want to run with the runner's knot. I don't always do that, but it's sure nice to have that option should I want to. The tongue is well padded. In fact, they've added a little padding from last year's version of the shoe, and I'm not sure that they necessarily needed to, but it's really comfortable. My only concern is that it might be running just a little bit warm as the weather gets hotter here. Right now, it gets around 70, sometimes pushing close to 80 degrees, and I found these to be somewhat breathable. I wouldn't say that they're overly breathable, but they do allow some airflow to go through. And I think that extra padding on the tongue might inhibit that just a little bit. But they are comfortable. It is a semi-gusseted tongue. They do include the loop to run your laces through. I didn't have any issues though with it migrating around. It's not going anywhere. It laid flat across my foot. Really comfortable. I never felt the laces across the top of my midfoot digging in. So I think they did a nice job with the tongue. I'm just not sure that they needed to add quite so much padding here. Now the padding around the heel collar and the tab, there's plenty of it. It sets right up around the collar. I often call this a pillow style padding because it is kind of like a pillow that sets up around the collar of this shoe. And there's lots of it, both in the heel tab of the shoe as well as on the collar. More than enough to help keep you comfortable when you're out running. It also features a nice anatomically correct Achilles heel flare here. I found it to be super comfortable, and since they don't have a pull tab, you can use that flare to help get your shoes on should you want to. Now let's take a look at the heel counter and see how much structure that they have back here. To do that, I'm just putting these up on my shoulder. I'm going to give them the pinch test. So I'm going to see how much resistance there is. And as I pinch this heel together, there is a ton of resistance. So there's lots of material back here to help hold your heel in place, give you a nice stable feeling when you're out running. Also adding to that stable feeling, they brought that EVA foam up quite high onto the upper of the shoe. You can see that here in the heel counter. And then as we turn and we look at the lateral side of the shoe as well as the medial side, again, that EVA foam comes up quite high. So it gives you a sensation of sitting in the bucket seat of a racing car. And that too adds to that stable feeling that you get when you run in the Hoka Clifton 8s. Now, Hoka did include a removable insole, and I always appreciate that. You know, it's nice just to be able to pull those out, clean them up, put them back in, so you're good to go the next time you want to run. Or if you want to customize your fit and put your own insole in, it's just nice to have those come out so easily. Also, they used an ortholite style insole, so it just adds a little bit of cushion and softness to your run. Now the midsole features a compression molded EVA foam, and there's a lot of it. There's 29 millimeter stack height in the heel and 24 millimeters up in the forefoot for that 5 millimeter offset from the heel to the toe. This EVA foam, if you've not experienced the Hoka Clifton series before, you'll find it to be soft and cushioned and fun to run in. There's a lot of responsiveness here in this EVA foam. And a couple of features I just want to point out to you. Starting in the heel, they've got a slight heel bevel here, and that's just to help with a natural feeling from your foot strike through to your toe off. So if you're a heel striker, I think you're going to find that that's going to be really comfortable. Also, they've extended that heel out just a bit, and that's a crash zone. So again, if you're a heel striker, I think you might find that to be soft landing for you. And this EVA foam back in this heel, that is pretty squishy. So again, if you're a heel striker, I think you might find these to be pretty comfortable to run in. Also, they have an early stage meta rocker. And I wouldn't say that this is overly aggressive, but Hoka is known for this early stage meta rocker, which simply means that they started sculpting that foam right about at the start of the metatarsal head. So it makes it nice and smooth for you to roll through your gait cycle. I've always enjoyed that. I don't know, like I said, that this is overly aggressive in terms of that rocker geometry, but I do find it comfortable and fun to run in. Now, Hoka has these listed as being balanced in terms of the amount of cushion that you have in the midsole, meaning that it's falling somewhere between a responsive ride and a plush ride. But for me, it tends to feel a little bit more like it's creeping towards that plush side of the spectrum of that scale. So let's flip these over and we'll take a look at the outsole. See how they're protecting all that soft EVA foam that you have in that midsole. And here you can see they've got plenty of blown rubber here to protect all of that EVA foam to give it some longevity. They did change the pattern here a little bit. They've got it up in the forefoot running kind of on a diagonal here, and then they have it in the high abrasion area that you're going to find around in the heel as well. Also, as we look at that outsole, you can see that they've changed that groove a bit that's in the heel and runs up to the forefoot. I think it's gotten a little bit deeper and maybe just a bit more aggressive. And I think that might add to that feeling that I get sometimes in that heel area of being just a little bit squishy. Overall, I think Hoka did a nice job with the changes that they made to the upper. I found it really easy to get a nice lockdown feeling across the midfoot section of the shoe. And with the tweaks that they made to the geometry of the shoe, it just feels a little more streamlined, being a little thinner here in the midsection as well as in the heel, and that feels really comfortable. Also, the changes that they made to that EVA midsole foam to make it lighter and more responsive, I do feel like I'm getting a little more energy return than I did in the Clifton 7s. So if you enjoy running in the Clifton 7, I think you'll like the changes that they made to the Clifton 8. They made a good shoe just a little bit better. Hey, thanks for making it to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed making it for you. As always, run tall, run strong, be kind to one another. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.